Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's my. I'm not the chairman of the board. I'm Glenn Rollins, the county attorney, and every first Monday in December, it's my honor and privilege to conduct the swearing-in ceremony for new commissioners and the organizational meeting of the board, and we will do that at this time. And to begin, I'm going to ask the Reverend Dr. Orrin Perry, who is senior pastor of House of Mandate Church in Roanoke Rapids, to come to the podium, lead us in invocation, and after that we will have our Pledge of Allegiance. So Dr. Perry, if you'll come forward, thank you so much.
Good morning to everybody. Can you come bow their heads, if you will, please, have active reverence. Many of us know that we have a lot going on, that we have individuals that God has designated, we believe, that God will give guidance. Father, we thank you this morning for your kindness, your goodness. We thank you this morning, God, because it's another day you've kept us during the most dangerous times, the most tempestuous times, God. But we come in here today thanking you, God, for vision. Thanking you, God, for our county commissioners and all those that uphold our county. God, we ask that you give them guidance. God, give them wisdom. You said in your word that people perish for the lack of knowledge. And God, we thank you right now that there's knowledge, there is vision that's going to be exuded, that's going to be given. And God, we ask now for health, strength, and longevity. God, we thank you for our new commissioners, the newly elected commissioners. God, give them guidance. Bring unity for the vision of the people of Halifax County. And God, we'll be so careful to give your name the praise, the honor, and the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Everyone say amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Perry, for being here with us today so much. At this time, it is an honor and a privilege to introduce to you our new commissioners who are currently seated in the place of the folks that they're going to soon replace. But I will have them come up in just a moment individually to take the oath of office. First, I'd like to introduce Judge Turner Stevenson. Judge Stevenson, would you approach the podium for a moment, please? Okay. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege here since Judge Stevenson is about to retire. And we have been friends and colleagues for many, many, many years. I had the privilege of attending a little get-together last week in honor of his retirement. And Judge Stevenson, just want to say that I know personally that no one in this room loves Halifax County more than you do. You used to serve this board as county attorney. You've been an excellent district court judge and chief district court judge, and it's just a pleasure to have you here to administer the oath of office one more time for the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I will take in order by district the new commissioners to take the oath of office. And for the first commissioner district, Mr. Jimmy Silver, who's seated at the end here, if you will approach the podium, Judge Stevenson will administer the oath of office. If anyone would like to join you, Mr. Silver, at the podium while you're doing that, they can come up now and be with you.
He's precious. I have to take his picture.
And they got a Bible up there. All right, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you to switch hands. If you put your left hand and raise your right. See it? There you go. All right, great. Do you, Jimmy C. Silver, solemnly swear that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as county commissioner, so help you God?
I do.
And do you, Jimmy C. Silver, solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and that you will bear faithful and true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations. If you would, stand.
Isn't it a great day to have fun?
Yeah, compared to the board members, we like to marry for 4 years. I feel like I'm too married. I do. So we got 4 years to work for the board.
Congratulations.
But I do one thing, thank you, the extended family and come up just one more, so, come to the school. So, come on, my family, how old school? Kids, you love it?
I might break your camera now. Good thing we got this big courthouse room here.
Support.
And I got two that won't come, they sit there like they shy. Everybody do them. Good. Hey, one family is gonna be shy. I have to talk about it. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Silver. Next, our newly elected commissioner from District 2, Mr. Gary Redding. And Mr. Redding, if you'd come forward and have whoever with your family you'd like to join you would be excellent at this time.
Dr. Green? Holding the back. Rodney?
Put your left hand on it. Raise your right. Do you, Gary R. Redding, solemnly swear that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as county commissioner, so help you God? I do. And do you, Gary R. Redding, solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God. Congratulations.
That's why you sent me to law school.
That was a good response.
And like Jimmy, I also want to thank my family and friends and my boss for giving me the day off. Being sworn in today as a new county commissioner. Thank you all. Love each other.
Is it? He changed
And for some of the younger people, this is my namesake.
Congratulations, Commissioner Redding. Welcome to the board. And finally, from District 3, Mr. Thomas Barrett And Mr. Barrett, if you come forward with your family or whomever you've invited to be with you today.
Do you, Thomas E. Barrett Jr., solemnly swear that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as County Commissioner, so help you God? And do you, Thomas E. Barrett Jr., solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, and that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God.
I'm gonna go off land real quick. Get started here. So look, I'm gonna say the same thing. Just keep thinking. Look, we in Halifax County, look, we have people come and go all the time. There are a few people who stay here and just work tirelessly for our local community. This guy right here is one of them. I mean, he spent his good years. He spent his good years here in Halifax County. It was an honor and a privilege for all of us to have him work here and hope you enjoy his family.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Judge Stevenson, thank you for being with us once again. Commissioner Barrett, welcome to the board. Board, now that at this time that you're all duly sworn and able to act as commissioners, the next item on our agenda at this organizational meeting is the selection of a chair pursuant to GS 153A-39. It is now the time to take a nomination or nominations for chair of the board for the coming year. I will advise you that when I ask for a nomination, it does not require a second under your rules of procedure that you've adopted. So at this time, I will open the floor for a nomination.
I nominate Vernon Bryant for chair.
I have nomination from Commissioner Webb for Vernon Bryant as chair. Is there any discussion on that particular nomination before I ask for a vote? And at this time, I'll ask for a vote on the nomination for Chairman Mr. Bryant as chair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? And congratulations, Mr. Bryant. I'll relinquish the chair in just a moment.
I know you'd be glad to.
I'm not sure you do. The last item of business is the selection of a vice chair, and similarly, I will take nominations at this time for vice chair. Any nominations?
I nominate Lenore Richardson Davis, Vice Chair.
Mr. Webb has nominated Commissioner Davis as vice chair. Is anyone who'd like to have discussion on that nomination before I call the question? Then seeing none, all in favor of that nomination for Ms. Davis as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Congratulations, Commissioner Davis.
Thank you.
Absolutely, that's fine. So that comes to the end of our business, this meeting. We'll adjourn the meeting, and ladies and gentlemen, give us about 5 minutes. You're going to watch us do a little musical chairs here for a second, and we'll be back with our regular meeting with the right people in the right places. Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and come to order. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
When if my green light is on, I'm
Well, good morning again. At this time, I want to officially call to order the Halifax County Board of Commissioners meeting on December the 2nd. Thank all of you all for being here. I want to take this opportunity before I move down in the agenda to thank my colleagues on their election and swearing in this morning, as well as Vice Chair Shanoa Richardson Davis. And I do want to take a second just to thank my colleagues for their vote of confidence in me in serving as your chairman. And as I have said many a times, that I will do my absolute best in serving this board as the chairman, and of course our staff as well as our citizens in this county. I take this job very seriously, and anybody who knows me very well would say that. So I do want to thank you all so much for your vote of confidence in me. It's a hard job, and of course my beautiful wife of 44 years is here, and she'll tell you that. She's also an elected official in Rock Rapids on the city council. But it's not an easy job. A lot of sleepless nights, and a lot of time I'm not at home, but she understands. At this time, I do want to ask Vice Chair Davis if she have any comments.
Yes, just real quickly, I would like again to echo the comments made by Chairman Bryant. Thank you all to my colleagues for your vote of support, and I pledge to continue to operate as I always do, do my very best for the citizens in Halifax, of Halifax County here. I did, and just to my family, thank you for all the support. And I know my husband is smiling today, and just express the love for him that he continues to rain down on me. I do appreciate you all. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to hear from newly elected Commissioner Jimmy Silver.
Just want to thank everybody for the support, especially my family, wife, kids, and friends, and just everybody. I look forward to working for the citizens of Halifax County. I truly mean that I'm here to listen to you, I'll fight for you, and do what's right. As I tell anybody, I love to get fight for the right reasons.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Redden, newly elected.
Thank you. Again, thank you all for your support and votes during the election process. I also want to thank my mother and Uncle Gary for being here from the very beginning, from birth to now. I call them my freedom fighters, and they promise not to protest, at least not too soon. So thank you all for teaching me from an early age the importance of being involved in the political process, for taking me to political meetings, for teaching me how to make a protest sign, create change, positive change in Halifax County. I want to also thank all the teachers along the way in Halifax County who invested in me and saw a young man who had the potential to one day become a county commissioner. And I also want to thank my sister Sita for being here. She changed my diapers, and now she can look at me and say it was all well worth it. I also want to thank my Halifax Community College family who are here today, as well as those back on campus, as well as my students there. And lastly, I look forward to helping the county commissioners as well as others in the county to move the county forward. I believe that we can create economic development as well as positive change in our educational system, as well as recreation, not only in the Roanoke Rapids area, but throughout the county, to ensure all of our children and our adults have a great chance of not only living on a daily basis, but also on a yearly basis. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Redden. Commissioner Barrett, newly elected.
I'll be brief. You know, I'm sitting here still trying to, it's hard to believe I'm sitting here because I'm not a politician. I'm just an ordinary folks like most of you sitting out there are. But I love my town. I love this county. I'm here for the rest of my life. So I'm going to do everything I can these next years and try to make it a good place for all of us to live in.
Thank you, Commissioner Barrett. At this time, I want to recognize a very special person in our audience. He's a Warren County Commissioner, but he's also president of the State Association of North Carolina Commissioners, T. Davis. Would you please stand? And I would ask that you come up and give us about a minute.
Y'all know me, it made it real tight. First of all, I want to say thank you to each and every one that's here. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to address your leadership here. To all the new commissioners, Commissioner Barrett, Redden, Mr. Silver, I say congratulate you. You have a task at hand. Now I'm going to turn to the audience. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to say that as president of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, you are one of 587 commissioners in the state of North Carolina. 2014, Warren County did elect me as their county commissioner. I served as 4 years as their chairman. It is truly an honor to be state president, to represent all of North Carolina, all 100 counties. But here's the deal. Now that you have been elected, and I'm not here to lecture you, but I'm here to offer my assistance to you. Chairman Bryant sits on my board of directors. We have a direct liaison at the state level as far as your association. The association advocates for you, that you are able to advocate for everyone that's in this room. Unfunded mandates, structured infrastructure funding. All of these things are important as the association lobbies for you at the state level to talk to the governor, to talk to the pro tem, to talk to the House of Representatives chair. All of these things are important. But I say to you this morning, as you take your seat, it's one thing to run. It's another thing to win. It is even harder to govern. Use your association as a liaison to help you facilitate the benefits and the needs of the folk of Halifax County. That's what it's all about. It's all about fostering relationships. And that's, as your president, I am here for you to work alongside you, to raise the issues that pertain to your issues here locally and from the state position to say, hey, look, this is what we need as commissioners. Remember, you're one of 587. Collectively, we can move mountains. And that's what I ask you to do for all the people here of Halifax County. Again, I salute you and I thank you for this opportunity. Chairman Bryant, always good to see you, my friend. I got to put a plug in to Christina because you know how.
I know.
Thank you all so much and I congratulate you.
You know, I do want to thank President Davis, and yeah, he appointed me to serve as an at-large director on the state board. You know, it's just awesome to have him in our midst today. He could have been at any county commission meeting this morning in the whole state, and he chose to come here to Halifax County and to be with us. And I think that's real tremendous. And thank you so much for being here. And I have personally been involved with many associations. I was on the school board for many years, as many of you know. Great association. But I can tell you right now, and I'm not saying this because I'm on the state board, I'm just telling you the absolute truth. There is no association of elected officials any greater than the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. They have got together, and my colleagues who are new to this board, and Ms. Davis and Mr. Webb can attest to this, you're going to see that going forward once you start going and interacting at the state level. Okay. Thank you all so much for being here, citizens, and you're always welcome to come to any of our meetings, as you well know. Any elected officials in the audience other than my wife, raise your hand, because I don't want to omit. Okay, we have Ms. Sybil. Okay, all right, I asked him to raise the hand. Ms. Sybil is a member of the Halifax County School Board, and then, of course, where is Representative, did he leave? Rodney Pierce? Okay. Representative-elect Rodney Pierce, he left. And we have another elected official in the back? Okay, we have a tribal council member, and tell us your name. I know you, but I haven't seen you in a moment. All right, good to have you here as well. Thank you all so much for being here. Okay, at this time, we're going to move to the next item on the agenda, which is the adoption of the agenda. I trust that my colleagues have had an opportunity to review the agenda. Are there any amendments or changes to the agenda, colleagues or county manager, attorney? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion for the adoption.
For the adoption of the agenda.
Okay, motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Webb. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the next item is the conflict of interest statement. In accordance with the Halifax County Board of Commissioners Rules of Procedure and the North Carolina General Statute Section 153A-44, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a known conflict of interest with respect to matters coming before us today? Commissioner Redden. Commissioner Barrett. I don't have any.
No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict.
Madam Clerk, let the record so reflect that the 6 commissioners present do not have any conflict with any matters coming before us today.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. And under the consent agenda, we have A, budget amendments, and then we have B, property tax collection refunds and releases, November 2024. Are there any questions or comments from any of the commissioners in regards to item A or B? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
Move for the approval of the consent agenda.
Motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by, who was to my left? Commissioner Barrett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Now, we're coming to one of the most exciting items on this agenda. Special recognitions. My colleagues know I love special recognitions. Item A, Certificate of Achievement, Excellence, and Financial Report, and we're going to hear from our illustrious county manager, Ms. Dia Denton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to all of you. Congratulations to the new commissioners. We're happy to have you. The first item under special recognition is to actually recognize our finance department. So I'm going to ask you to come up in just a minute. But to explain this award, I'm just going to read the information because it might be easier to understand for the audience. The Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada, also known as GFOA, has awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to Halifax County for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2023, marking the 25th consecutive year the Halifax County Finance Department has received this award. 21,000 members and the communities they serve. You will see more evidence of this later in the meeting when our annual audit is presented, and you will see how good a job they do. Finance Department, who's taking up all of the second row, and their director, Mary Duncan. If y'all would come forward, or do we want to show the video first? I'm sorry, excuse me. We have a video provided by the GFOA that we're going to show. We might need to
What is GFOA? You may have said.
Government Finance Officers Association.
All right.
And we have a video we're going to show really quickly.
You know, while they're getting ready to do that, I love that young man just snapping pictures everywhere. Thank you so much for doing that. Well, he seems so professional and know what he's doing. Thank you.
So this video is just, what, a minute or two?
It's like 30 seconds.
30 seconds, it's very quick.
Turn it up a little bit.
GFOA's Executive Director. It is my honor to recognize you for receiving GFOA's Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Receiving this award demonstrates your finance team's commitment to thank you. Congratulations again on this impressive achievement.
So, normally when you reach a 25th anniversary, it's the silver, I think, award if you've been married that long. We don't have silver for y'all, but we do have something else. So Finance Department, please come forward. And we've got something very special to present to you that you can display in the department after the meeting. In honor of the 25 consecutive years, we'd like to recognize the Finance Department for their 25th in a row Certificate of Achievement of Excellence in Financial Reporting. So congratulations to all of you. In the hallway. It's a great spot. Did everyone have anything you want to say? We'll turn it back over to you.
I appreciate this. Our goal every year is to get this award. So we sit there, we analyze and anal and do everything we can to possibly qualify again. We have great auditors. We appreciate Tessa Flip and Tim Lyons here in the back. Working with them helps us get this. So it's a team effort. All of us struggle, like Teresa with her 35 plus years, Jennifer her 25, and Tanya her 25. 25, yeah. Like the rest of us, Shelley's got 21. 23, 24, and our newbies, 6 and 2 months. But like I said, this is a concerted effort here. We all work together as a team, and it's a great family. This is my work family. And we appreciate everything, and we appreciate this from the commissioners. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Myself, I don't need operations to do it. They're also very self-sufficient. I stress operations out. When they see me playing with a hammer and a chain, there's something.
On behalf of the Halifax County Board of Commissioners, we certainly echo what our county manager has said about the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Finance Reporting. I've been a commissioner for 15 years, and you just heard the street 20-something years, so it was like that when I first got on the board. So they've been very good. I think when Linda Taylor was in charge, and they just have not skipped a beat. And thank you all so much. Let's give them a hand one more time. Okay, Ms. Denton, you're up again.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm so glad we're doing these awards today to break in our new commissioners just right. So we have another award that was a surprise to me, but I was excited to hear about it. Shane Lynch, would you come forward, please? I don't have anything to give you. You already got it, but we're going to put your picture up here, and we're going to explain a little bit about what happened.
Oh, he's got it.
Oh, he brought it with him. Okay, well, maybe you could take a picture with him.
Yeah, I will.
With his award. So at the, the Tax Association's annual conference, I believe was last week or week before last, our own assessor, Shane Lynch, received the 2024 Joseph E. Hunt Distinguished Award for Medium Jurisdictions at the North Carolina Association of Assessing Officers Banquet. And this was an award in recognition of outstanding achievement in tax administration and public service. It's the Distinguished Award for Medium Jurisdictions. So, congratulations.
It's a tax jurisdictional award. It actually can be awarded to collectors as well. So
So this is not a Shane Lynch or a tax assessor award, this is a tax department award, and that is why we have our whole staff here.
Good. Well, have them all please stand and
Yeah.
And
Have your
let's
staff to
recognize
stand.
them.
Yeah, have your staff to stand.
I know you're back there, you can stand.
Doris and the whole staff, stand up.
There
Okay,
you
let's
are.
give them a big hand. And at this time, I'm going to ask all the folks sitting at this table, commissioners and clerk and county attorney and county manager, come on, let's take a picture. And I also want to thank Lance Martin from RSP and Richard Holmes from Halifax being here. And Doris, come on up. And then after we take one, let your staff come up and take one, okay? This is your first picture, new commissioner. By the way, we had to move that thing so much till the county manager decided to put that thing on roll. Put wheels on it. Right, I got a test, he was really working. How you that? Okay, very good. Spine on. Okay. Look, you don't know this, but we were trying to break him in right. Let's see, I'm gonna get the side door, so you can stay with it. So wait a minute, are we all in this? I want to make sure that, are you in this, you need it. I'm sliding this, you slide. No, I want you to make sure you're in this picture. You okay, Commissioner? Yes, sir. Okay, all right.
Hang on one second.
In case y'all don't know, Lance and Shane are Redskin fans, that's why he had. He corrected me for that. Congratulations. All set.
She says 24 has to follow including the there's a great action. I guess they fund reimburse the sheriff.
Like a roll of quarters.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. Y'all are good looking. Very good job.
Somebody came in who called me on the way.
Good job.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I made myself stay in the bed till 12 o'clock. Because I don't get any rest. I said, you know what? And then we went to Virginia to a sister's house. I had to work about cooking no turkey. Nothing. Oh, man, the stew, yeah, did for the church. That's the second time I've done one for the church. It sells. Yeah, I've been doing stews probably 30 years now. Yes, get your taste of it.
Have you finished? Okay. All right, let's give them another big hand. Shane, Doris, their staff, they do such a great job for the county in collecting taxes, and we got one of the highest tax collection rates in the state, and they do a tremendous job with that. All right, next item we're going to move to is item 3, which is the public comment period. North Carolina General Statute Section 153A-52.1. I'm going to open that up and allow for public comment, but just before I do that, I need to read a statement. Just bear with me for a second. Let me find it. Okay. Opening statement, public comment period. As required by General Statute 153A-52.1, the Halifax County Board of Commissioners provide a public comment period once a month as an item of business on its regular meeting agenda. Now is the scheduled time for the public comment period. When I call your name, please come to the podium, state your name and your address, and begin speaking. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. If you have documents that you want to give to the board, please hand those out before going to the podium. I will not go over the rules of the public comment period because they were posted by the door of this room. By signing up to speak, you have acknowledged that you are familiar with the rules and that you will abide by them. We will do our best to hear from everyone who has signed up to speak, but if we're unable to accommodate everyone in the time allotted, you'll be invited to speak during our next public comment period, at which time you'll be given priority without having to sign up again. We appreciate your interest in Halifax County government, and we look forward to hearing from you. At this time, I'm going to invite Mr. Daniel Scooter Boham. He's from Littleton, and he's with the Lake Gaston Weed Council. Come up, sir. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner, for allowing me to be here. Congratulations to our new commissioners. We look forward to working with you guys, and we sure appreciate it all. My name's Daniel Boham. My wife and I reside at 787 Heather Glen Road in Littleton. We've owned our home property for 12 years. I'm a Halifax County Director and Vice President of the Lake Gaston Association, as well as President of the Heather Glen Homeowners Association, all of which are volunteer positions. Last year, I volunteered over 860 hours of my time to improve the quality of life in my subdivision, my church, the town of Littleton, Lake Gaston, and Halifax County. The LGA and the Lake Gaston Weed Control Council are both nonprofits, and the LGA has over 2,200 members. First, I want to thank all the commissioners, manager, county manager, and attorney Rollins, for your commitment and contribution last year, fiscal year, of $116,000 that went towards the invasive weed and algae control on Lake Gaston. All 5 counties on the lake contributed to help fund the treatment costs, along with both states contributing as well. 100 volunteers working over 400 hours surveying the lake shoreline to identify weed and algae, which facilitates North Carolina State University management and the Lake Gaston Weed Control treatments. I personally participated and volunteered in the survey of Pretty Creek and Little Stonehouse Creek. I can personally attest to the fact that large improvements have been made in the water quality of both creeks. The annual vegetation survey data validates this. The ongoing treatments are working with no harm to the environment or wildlife. The Lake Gaston Weed Control Council has spent approximately $400,000 per year over the last 3 years treating lambia, algae along the Halifax County shoreline. Total lake-wide treatments of $1.5 million are forecasted to treat 500 acres of algae and 200 acres of hydrilla, an invasive weed. The Halifax County's funding is critical to this environment and human health issue. Northampton, Warren, Brunswick, and Mecklenburg counties have all submitted funding of the $116,000 each to the Lake Gaston Water Weed Control Council back in September of this fiscal year. Sales tax revenue for the county was over $5 million last year, and tourism revenue was in excess of $122 million in '22 and $133 million in '23. Property taxes have escalated, especially with waterfront properties this year as well. Therefore, I'm here today to respectfully request the commissioners and county manager to submit the full $116,000 funding towards this vital and necessary program, and to continue to maintain the water quality of Lake Gaston and disallow any issue that may delay this funding
the Lake Gaston Weed Control Council. I thank all of y'all very much. I know your jobs are very difficult, and I appreciate every one of y'all. Thank you for the time you allow me.
Yes, sir, and thank you so much. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
And also, I want to recognize Jeff Zimmer. He's also with the Lake Gaston Association. Just raise your hand. Thank you for being here as well. Okay, at this time, we're going to move to item A on the agenda, which is the fiscal year 23-24 audit report. Ms. Duncan, did you want to say something before Ms. Lyons come up? Or?
Good morning, and thank you all again. The audit will be presented by Tim Lyons. Here's your handout. All right, I don't think you want to. Tim, if you'll come on up, and here's one for y'all.
It's all right.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me here this morning.
Page down. Here comes that, you know.
There we go.
He's the director of IT. Okay.
Real quick, before I get started, I also wanted just to briefly piggyback on the presentation that Mary and her team got earlier. I think it's important for y'all to know and to point out that the preparation of an annual comprehensive financial report or an ACFR is not a requirement. You're only required to prepare an annual set of financial statements that are then audited by an independent CPA firm, which is what we do for the county. But the preparation of an ACFR requires that you go above and beyond. There are several additional sections that Mary and her team have to put together every year. So beyond just getting the award for 25 years, I think it's also important to know that y'all have a finance department that goes above and beyond in preparing additional information that goes into that report, which is not something that every finance department does. Certainly not everyone in North Carolina. So just one other thing I think to point out and to thank Mary for her work. Briefly, my agenda this morning, I'm just going to go over the results of the audit. I have a few slides on some financial ratios and some trends that I'm going to discuss with y'all, and then comments, recommendations, emerging issues, what have you. I've got a slide at the end for questions, but certainly as I'm going along, if y'all have any questions, feel free to stop me as I go. I know we got some new commissioners this morning, and so I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Tim Lyons with the firm Malden & Dinkins. We are the county's external auditor. At the bottom of the slide there, I've got my engagement team. Tessa Plitt is my in charge. She kind of handles the day-to-day of the audit. Tessa's with me in the back. And then every audit at Malden & Dinkins, when we finish, when Tessa and I get done and I sign off on everything, it goes through what we refer to as the quality control review process. So a partner in our governmental practice who is not otherwise associated with the engagement in any way gets the audit file and the county, and a copy of the county back where it does a full review to make sure that we've done everything that we need to do, and that the county is doing everything that they need to do from a financial reporting standpoint. So serving governments is a big part of what we do. We work with over 700 governments throughout the country each year, and appreciate the opportunity to work with Halifax County again this year. The next couple slides kind of go over the results of the audit. There's a lot of information on these slides. I'm not going to touch on every single bullet point. I just kind of want to hit some of the highlights, but kind of the financial statements are the responsibility of the county's management. We are engaged to audit them and to express an opinion on them. The county's financial statements do include the financial statements of the Halifax County ABC Board. The ABC Board is considered a component unit of the county. We do not audit the ABC Board. We rely on the report of other auditors who audit the ABC Board. We have some communications with them. We require them to make some representations to us so that we can rely on their audit if we express an opinion on the county's financial statements. Underneath that bullet that says report on 2024 basic financial statements, we will be issuing an unmodified opinion. An unmodified opinion is a fancy accounting term for a clean opinion. There is no higher or better opinion that you can get. An unmodified opinion means that the county's financial statements are considered to present fairly in all material respects the county's financial position as of June 30th, 2024, and for the results of its operations and cash flows for the county's fiscal year that ended. The next several slides are what are known as our required communications. These are things that the audit standards require me to communicate to you all in writing. I've done so. And so, again, I'm not going to go through and read each one of these. A few of these I think are important to touch on, though. Underneath that significant accounting policy, the last bullet point underneath there, this pertains to a new accounting standard. So if you're somebody that potentially likes to look at the financial statements, kind of looking at the 2 years and see what changed, you will notice this year we were required to implement GASB Statement 100. The official name of that standard was accounting changes and error corrections. All that standard did was define what an accounting change is, and as it applies to governments, it is purely a presentation issue. We're not recognizing any new financial statement elements. We're not measuring anything differently. It is just a presentation issue. And so you'll see that this year in the county's financial statements where we had a couple of funds that did not qualify as major funds in the past. So those funds were presented in the back of the ACFR in the combining schedules. Those are now presented in the front this year. They qualify as a major fund. So again, just a presentation change, no new. This is not like when we had to implement the pension or OPEB standards and all of a sudden we're booking these new huge liabilities we've never seen before. This is just a presentation and classification issue. Relationship with management, I would think it's important for the board to hear from the auditor about our relationship with management. When we conduct our audit, not only do we have to get a lot of information from Mary and her team in the finance department, but because our audit also includes the compliance audits we have to do in accordance with the federal uniform guidance in the state of North Carolina Single Audit Implementation Act. We ask for access to a lot of different people. We ask for access to a lot of information. And so we receive full cooperation from the county's management in order to get the information that we needed to do what we need to do to complete our audit and to express our opinion. And so I appreciate management of the county working with us and giving us everything we need to perform our audit. And then last but not least, on this results of the audit, the required communications at the bottom here about auditor independence, I think it's important to point out that we meet all the requirements. Not only does the AICPA impose ethical requirements on us, but because we have to conduct the county's audit in accordance with government auditing standards, there are even higher, more stringent rules that we have to meet. There are certain things we cannot do. We cannot play a role in management. We cannot make management decisions. We have to make sure that we stay independent of the county. There were no fees paid to Emmett or other things, no other work that we did for the county during the fiscal year that will prohibit us from rendering that independent opinion on the county's financial statements. As I mentioned, the annual audit also covers the federal and state compliance audits. For fiscal year 2024, the county is reporting approximately $9 million in federal expenditures and approximately $5.8 million in state funding. And then underneath this part of the audit we refer to as the single audit. We were required to test 4 major programs this year for the county. The first one is Medicaid. We are required to test Medicaid every year. The state of North Carolina requires that we test the Medicaid and specifically the eligibility piece. Secondly, the coronavirus, state and local fiscal recovery funds, commonly known as ARPA. We were required to test those. The federal government requires that to be a high-risk program, so we have to test it still. The third program on there, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. For the county, we had not audited that program since 2021. We're required to audit these larger programs at least once every 3 years. This one was just kind of up in rotation. And then the lottery proceeds, which is a state program, we were required to audit for coverage. The next few slides I have are on some financial metrics that we want to talk about that are important, things that I think are beneficial for you all to be aware of. The first slide on here is the general funds fund balance. This is a breakdown of the general funds fund balance each year. So kind of the big takeaways would be that for the fiscal year ended June 30th of 2024, the county's fund balance showed a decrease in fund balance of approximately $6.5 million. It's important to keep in mind, though, that the county budgeted to use fund balance. I think the final amended budget in the general fund showed a much higher appropriation of fund balance. So the county budgeted to use fund balance, but did not use as much as had been budgeted. But either way, the county's fund balance at June the 30th is still well above the state required minimums. But it's right in line with what the GFOA recommends, that kind of that 3 to 4 months of general fund expenditures and fund balance. When you combine, when you look at just the unassigned fund balance, which is that blue part of the bar graph there, That unassigned fund balance is the fund balance that's not been designated or set aside or is not restricted for any other purposes. This is fund balance that is available for spending, available for the county's consideration and future budgeting and those types of things, was about 34% of fund balance at year end. And when you combine that with the green bar, which is the restricted for state stabilization, the state of North Carolina requires us to go through this calculation each year. When the county prepares their act for it, we have to do this calculation the state requires, sort of set aside the part of fund balance that is not cash, basically. To say, okay, this is not cash related, this is fund balance that needs to be set aside and is not available to be appropriated, but really it's just a state law thing. So when you combine those two, the county's fund balance is about 165 days, so well in excess of, like I said, of what the state minimums are, and also in excess of what the GFOA would recommend.
What is the state minimum? Just
1 month.
1 month.
But they require you to do a calculation. They look at your general fund balance as a percentage of your expenditures, and if it dips below that 11-12% number, they're going to require you to report what the OGC refers to as a financial performance indicator of concern. So that's what their minimum is. The other two funds that we typically talk about are the two enterprise funds, the business type activities. The county has two of those, the solid waste fund and the water fund. Both of these funds reported positive cash flows from operations this year. And they both of these funds report positive overall debt position, which is kind of the, when you look at assets minus liabilities, debt position is sort of what is left over. When we look at the solid waste and the water fund, the LGC does require a couple of additional calculations specifically related to the water fund, and I've got a couple slides that I can talk to you all about. This first cash flow indicators chart, this is what was from the county's final ACFR from the prior year, in 2023. We've not prepared this data input workbook yet. We will prepare that and submit that to the LGC when we finalize everything later on this week or next week. And what this calculation requires you to do is it requires you to look at operating income in the water fund. Then they have you add back a couple of things to that. You add back depreciation expense, which is that annual depreciation of your capital assets, is a non-cash number. And then you add back, you just add back depreciation expense. You take operating net loss. So for 2024, let me back up a second. For 2023, that number was negative. It was negative $16,000. For 2024, that number is about negative $35,000 this year. So operating net loss in the water fund is about $72,000 this year. But then we add back to it depreciation expense, a non-cash item. So that number is about $1.6 million. Then we're backing out of that principal and interest on long-term debt that is in the county's water, just this negative number again. So this is going to spit out again as a financial performance indicator of concern for the county's water fund. This is an LGC required ratio. And so I'm going to talk more about that in a second. So I want to go over this next slide real quick. The quick ratio, which is just a comparison of current assets and current liabilities. Essentially what we're looking at here is what are your short-term bills, what are the bills that you have that are going to come due in the next year, what assets do you have on hand that are in cash or easily convertible into cash that are going to be available to pay those bills. That quick ratio had been coming down from 21 to 22, from 22 to 23. However, in 24, it pops back up again. But when you really dig down into the numbers, the reason for that both increase in net position in the water fund and the increase in the quick ratio is because the general fund of the county transferred money to the water and sewer fund. So at the end of the day, when you take into consideration both this slide here and the quick ratio slide that I just went over, this is, first of all, this is a trend we have seen across governments, not just in North Carolina where I predominantly practice, but also in other states where I work with government, South Carolina and Georgia. The last couple of years, we've seen a couple things. We've seen significant inflationary pressure on costs in operating a water and sewer utility. And a lot of times, because for various reasons, it's hard to be increasing rates quick enough to catch up with those costs. So because of that, though, we do need to pay attention to where we are with both operating revenues, which is the rate side, and operating expenses in the water fund. While we continue to operate this way, and we continue to have this ratio that spits out this cash flow indicator, it's going to continue to be something that the LGC is going to monitor, and they're going to require a response from the county as to how we're going to address this. That was a lot of information. I'll pause there for a second and ask if I have any questions for anybody.
Okay, Commissioner Barrett?
Was there any difference in the way you did the calculations in 2021, 2022, 2023, same thing?
No, sir. Yeah, it is, when you
So
look
we
at
had
that.
over $230,000 difference between 2022 and 2023. Okay.
I mean, and really, I mean, a common thing we have seen at a lot of our clients that operate municipal or operate public utilities, water, and sewer, a lot of it has to do with costs. I mean, the inflation costs we have seen in things like utilities, chemicals, all the things that goes into running a water utility, they have just increased faster than folks have been able to raise rates. And so now we're sort of seeing where like it's getting caught up now, we just gotta make sure we're paying attention to it and adjusting rates as necessary. Because the county's debt service, the amount of debt that the water fund is carrying, both principal and interest payments that the water fund is making on long-term debt have also not changed significantly since 2021. So it truly is a reflection of those operating revenues and expenses. That's what has changed.
See, that's one thing that we've tried to avoid, raising the rates and all.
Understood?
Yep.
Understood.
A good question, Commissioner Barrett. Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, you may continue.
Okay, I've just got a couple more slides here. New accounting pronouncements, we communicate all of this to our clients, just to keep them aware of what's coming. GASB statement number 101 has to do with compensated absences. This is one of those where there is going to be a new, or I guess, how we measure a liability for compensated absence, accrued leave, PTO, vacation, sick leave, all that stuff. The GASB is changing how we measure that, so that'll be different for next year's ACFR. And then a bigger one in 2026 is this statement number 103, the financial reporting model improvements. I've been joking with folks that just as we've all gotten sort of comfortable with how this gigantic report looks, when we have a copy, y'all will see it's a 200 plus page document. And just as we've kind of all gotten good with how it looks and feels and where we go to find things, the GASB will change it up a little bit. And so really the biggest change we will see is in the budgetary information. When you go to these budgetary comparison schedules, there's going to be a new column in there for variance between original and final budget that's not there right now. Also, we're going to require, all the governments of North Carolina, LGC requires you to show your general fund as a statement. So right in those front set of statements, GASB is now requiring you to move it in the back in the RSI. So the location of it's going to change and how it looks is going to change a little bit as well. And then because I do know we have some new commissioners here, just want to let y'all know that we provide, all the things, we provide free quarterly continuing education to all our government clients. The vast majority of the time, it's technical accounting, stuff, so if you just have a hankering to hear me talk about that, standard for 7 to 8 hours, we're happy to jump in the Zoom with us and listen to that. But every now and again, we do cover topics HR, risk management, budgeting, those types of things. If you would like to be added, you want your email added to our distribution list when we send out these notifications, we have an upcoming class, just get your information to Mary and she can make sure that I get it added into our system. And so with that, I am happy to take any final comments or questions that you all might have for me this morning.
Tell me about that fund balance one more time, about the move of it. You were saying it was being moved from one place to the other. I missed that part.
Oh, sorry, no, it's not the actual fund balance, it's just the budget schedule.
Okay.
And right now, when you look at the county back first, once you go past kind of those introductory pages, you got our opinion and then the MD&A, and then you get into the actual basic
Right.
statements. It's like the fourth or fifth page is the general fund's budget statement.
Uh-huh.
Right now, governments have an option. They can present that budget statement in the front there. They can present it towards the back in what is known as the required supplementary information.
Uh-huh.
This new GASB standard is removing that option and saying you no longer have a choice. You have to put it in the back.
Okay.
of our side. So how we calculate, that's another standard where we're not calculating anything differently. We're not recognizing any new elements in the financial statement. It's purely just a presentation.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners?
So just a quick summary, to make sure we're all on the same page. From your report was an unmodified, which is a good
Yes, ma'am.
standing. And the concern that we will need to pay attention to in the future is the wastewater.
Right, I mean, it's a little bit where I feel like I'm kind of sort of caught in the middle here, because these financial performance indicators of concern, these are not Malden and Jenkins, these are LGC. The LGC requires, there's this big data input workbook. Once we get done with the financial statements, we fill out this big data input workbook, and it spits out some of these indicators. And the LGC, if you have any of them, the LGC is going to require a response from the county as to what we're going to do to address it. So yes, this issue with the waterfront, this cash flow indicator will require a response, and is something that needs to be monitored.
You finished? Okay. We're here from our county manager at this time. She's going to have some further comments about that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On Friday at your retreat, we're going to take a deeper dive into fund balance and help explain that, especially for the new commissioners. And we will be monitoring the enterprise fund and the financial stability of that fund. But I think it's also important to note that there were no findings. So that's the good news also.
Okay, does that conclude your report?
It does, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And we need a motion just to accept the fiscal year 23-24 audit report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Webb, second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Ms. Duncan, you have something?
On Friday, you will have more opportunity to discuss fund balance if you want to. You'll see part of 23 is a big increase there, so that we had taken the ARPA money and moved it over to the general fund.
Okay.
So that was part of the spike there. And then in 24, we took it out of the general fund and moved it over to a special revenue account. So that's why there's a decrease in fund balance for this million plus the money gets transferred over to water or some other capital projects.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Thank you all for coming. At this time, we're going to move to item B under the agenda items, Child Fatality Prevention Team and/or Community Child Protection Team designation. We'll hear from our Health Director, Cheyenne James. And she's got Ms. Betty Reese also with her from the Health Department. Good morning to you.
Good
Morning.
So I stand before you this morning as a result of some recent changes in the law. So our health department houses the local child fatality prevention team, and also USF houses our community child protection team. Collectively, we both have a lot of the same members on both of our teams, and the funding stream is also changing for this in the upcoming year. The recent law that is reflected in General Statute 7B-1406.5 now requires that each county's local board of county commissioners determine if the county will continue as its own local team, so a single county team, or be a part of a multi-county team. In discussion with Ms. Felicia Exum, who is our DSS director, we came to the conclusion that it is our suggestion that we move forward as a single county team to continue to take a deep dive into those individual cases for Halifax County, just focusing on Halifax County. If there are any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer them, but we would like to request that we continue to operate as a single county team at this time.
Okay, commissioners, you've heard information coming from our health director. Do you have any questions or comments? If not, we'll need a motion. It's requested that the board determine, that she's recommended they continue as a single county team.
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chair Davis. And there's a second? Second by Commissioner Redding. I'm going to have to get all these names right. I look over there, and I look over there at Commissioner Redding, and I think about Commissioner John Smith, because that was his seat before then. I look over here, and I think about London Brew when I look at Commissioner Davis. Okay, motion's been made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations for the new appointment. I just want to echo that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. right, next item on the agenda, we have item C, which is qualifications-based selections of architects for a new detention center project. We have our Assistant County Manager, Mr. Thomas Everett, who's going to talk about that.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
And staff.
Good morning.
Friends, family.
All right.
It's my pleasure to stand before you today to present the selection of the architect firm for our new detention center for Halifax County.
Yay.
Merry Christmas.
We had, in October, we were tasked with starting the process for selecting the firms. Those packets were due in November on the 15th, and we received two of them. The two that we received was K2M Designs and Mosley Architects. K2M Designs, they're from Charlotte, and Mosley Architects, they're from Raleigh. And they have done some work with us before. We selected Mosley Architects. Both were highly qualified. And at this time, I would like to request to move forward with negotiations.
Okay, there's been a request, but just before we get into your request, I do have a question, I guess, maybe for the county manager, maybe even for you and the deputy county manager. Going forward, how are we going to pay for this?
So what we will do, if you approve us to negotiate a contract with Mosley Architects, we will work on that over the next month or so and bring back a contract to you. And we will try to get an estimate of what that piece of the project will be and request to fund it, likely from fund balance at this point, until we can move forward with a new budget and start planning accordingly.
Well, and that's fine, the only reason I brought that up, well, that's important to bring up, but, it's just like that compensation study we had, and of course, we did wonderful with that as far as, having that compensation study, and then it was approved, and we moved forward with it. And my point is, and you know what I'm getting ready to say is, I don't want to move on something and, and not do it. That's my whole point. And I know that jail is going to be an expensive proposition. Is it needed? Yes. But we need to be forward thinking too. Need to be mindful of the citizens in this county, who are senior citizens and taxpayers, and raising taxes and all that. And I'm not saying that's going to be what we're going to have to do, but it just got to be forward thinking about how we're going to pay for it, is my point. And I don't want to put something out there again and not do it. As chairman and as a commissioner, that's kind of my take on it. Any other questions or comments from any of the other commissioners? Commissioner Barrett? And we're going to come back to your request,
So I guess my question is, so we submitted, or these people submitted bids, or did we not get prices already?
No, you cannot do that.
I can add to that. With respect to engineering and architect services, you don't take bids, you actually ask for qualifications, and it's a qualifications-based selection process. Our recommendation as staff to you is that we select Mosley Architects as the firm to negotiate a contract with. We don't have a contract with anyone yet, nor are we asking you to enter into a contract. We're simply saying that we recommend that Mosley be the firm that we negotiate with for a contract. Before you can sign a contract, you'll have to appropriate the money through a project ordinance to be able to enter into a contract with Mosley, because otherwise Mary wouldn't be able to pre-audit the contract. So we'd have to come back to you both for an appropriation for the architect services, and this would all be pre-design work and that sort of thing, and also authorization to enter into a contract. So no, they didn't submit bids. They're not allowed to submit bids. They can't tell us how much they would charge. They can give us unit prices and that sort of thing, but we're really looking at the qualifications for our project and recommending that we negotiate with them on a contract and come back to you about that.
Okay.
I am new to this, so I guess my only concern is that we deem them both qualified, And if the other people are willing to do it for $100,000 less than these people are willing to do it for, I'd rather save the taxpayers $100,000 if we could, but is there any way to even do that, I guess?
In a word, no.
Okay.
No, not with things that the state has decided, and this has been for a long time, the law, when it comes to things that are important about how you design a building so that it doesn't fall down on you, cheaper is not necessarily better, although it may make a difference, but in the end, no, you want to know that the firm is qualified, knows how to design a jail that will work for you. So, it really, obviously you have cost in mind, but it's not a bid process like you normally have with a contractor who's going to actually do the construction work for you.
And Mosley is already doing what we call the new courthouse, but that courthouse down there that we're going, that the General Assembly got $8.2 million that they're going to renovate, so they already have that. So they're familiar with it, and they're very,
I just hate to pay you more money than we have to.
right. Okay, all right. Now, going back to his original question.
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna ask, what factors made y'all choose Mosley over other companies?
One more experience. Mosley has done some work with us before, and we were very familiar with their work, and we were satisfied with the way they do things. Like the chairman stated, and Attorney Roman stated, cheaper is not necessarily better. So they're more the same as the same.
If I could add, they are pretty much the most known architect in North Carolina for building detention centers. This other group, while they're qualified as an architect, I don't think they've built any jails in North Carolina. So Mosley is intimately familiar with the laws and the building codes that detention centers will be required to follow to build them. We've also toured a few different detention centers. Mosley designed all of those. And we really like the design, particularly of Granville County. The design of Granville County, also designed by Mosley, was really, really attractive to us from an efficiency point of view and the ability to staff the detention center as you're looking at increasing your capacity. So their experience is unmatched. I feel very comfortable with moving forward. I don't know anything about this other company. I know Mosley very well. We've worked with them on the 2 previous jail projects that were halted, and they have been nothing but professional and very well qualified.
Okay, Attorney
I
Wells.
just got some things I
Commissioner
would
Webb.
like to add. For the past several weeks, the jail population has been 190, and we only supposed to house 85. And of that 190, about 40 to 50 has been housed in other jails across the state. So we are overcrowded every day. And we are paying $50 per day for each inmate that has to be housed in other counties. Also, other jails are turning our inmates away because they're trouble. And my concern is this. We got off the hook from building Weldon City Schools. We were let off the hook for building Eastman. This is the largest and going to be the most expensive project for the county in years. My concern is, after we get past this juncture here, when do we begin to look at how much it's going to cost and how we're going to pay for it?
I can also start that conversation with you.
Yes.
For the new commissioners, several months ago, our financial advisor came and gave scenarios to the board about what the debt service would look like on a $30 million jail, $40 million, and $50 million, and what your funding options are. You could do private financing, you could do some bonds, you could do USDA. There are advantages and disadvantages with both, but Commissioner Webb is absolutely right. We are paying a fortune to house these inmates in other jails. That amount of money would be a nice dent in a debt service payment. And as you get further into the process, assuming we're allowed to move forward, when you plan for that, there likely will be a tax increase associated with it. So I just want to be very open and transparent about that. However, you do have some debt rolling off in 2026. So if we take that into account along with our financial advisor, we can present to you a picture of what that will look like and how to pay for it. What I will likely come back to you and ask for is what our limit will be. We did not do that in past projects, meaning we bid it without having you tell us what you wanted to spend on it. So if I could ask you to just start thinking about that, $30, $40, $50 million, and that could also dictate how big we can go, Commissioner Webb, and how many inmates we can house. And another piece of that is to remember that the more inmates you have, you need to remember staffing and the ability to staff it to keep the staff safe, the inmates safe, and to keep the jail just a safe environment. So those are all things to take into consideration. But if you'll start thinking about that, we'll start working with the architect, assuming we can get a contract in place, and look at what this might be, and we'll bring that back to you. Because what I really want is for you to tell me, this is your budget, and this is what you have to stay under. Then we can relay that information to the architects, and they can design it, ideally with construction prices, which have been a little bit unstable, but they have stabilized in the last 12 months or so. That gives us a solid figure to work from. Now, when bids come in, they could be over, under a little bit. You just never know. But I think it's important for us to have a number from which to work to plan for. So if you can start thinking about that, we'll share that information again, especially with the new commissioners that our financial advisor presented to us. I think that's going to be really helpful information for you to think about what your debt service payments would look like.
So at this point, what you're asking us to do, just giving you, yes, we give you the power to negotiate contracts.
Yes, ma'am.
And this does not involve any cost at this time?
No, ma'am. We would bring that back to you. We can't sign a contract unless we have funding identified, as Mr. Rollins said. So we would bring that back to you with a cost. And then at that point, we would ask for approval and the funding to go with it so that we can all sign off on it.
Okay, very good discussion. Anything else from any of the commissioners? Okay, Commissioner Reddy.
I also think, in addition to the great point that Commissioner Webb shared, if you attend a court hearing or court hearings, you see that the recidivism rate is just skyrocketing because we see some of the same inmates going in and out of the jail as if it's a revolving door. So I think we should also have an eye on services that can be provided in addition to the lockup component, because a day reporting center, mental health services, as well as juvenile services could potentially be added to the jail, so people can get not only the incarceration component, but potentially the treatment component, so they're not coming in and out of the jail and maybe getting help with finding jobs, mental health, as well as help with finding housing, stable housing, and so on and so forth.
You're correct. Absolutely. We do have many inmates that really suffer from mental illness, and we need to house them separately from your run-of-the-mill inmates. We have been in some pretty in-depth conversations with the sheriff about possibly using our opioid funding if there's a substance use issue involved with it, that we can use those funds to pay for some services and staff to be almost like a liaison between the law enforcement side, jail side, and then the court system, and what services can be offered to try to keep that revolving door shut. So we are very cognizant of that.
Good point, Commissioner Reddy.
I just want to add to
Yes, sir.
Now, at this time, the court has what we call drug court. And that's funds been set aside. I think we were part of that
Yes, sir.
$500,000. Where that if a person comes in and he's a repeat offender and they identify some drug issue, and they have a specific court that is set up for those individuals. Now, also, the jail and the judges have come together in the district attorney's office, and we had what we call jail court 2 weeks ago on a Friday. And we stayed in court till 6 o'clock Friday evening. And the only individual that was on the docket were individuals that were in jail. And what that allowed us to do, it allowed us to make pleas, get people out of jail. Sometimes someone's bond should have been lowered. You didn't catch it. They was on a no bond when they should have had a bond hearing within several days. So we were able to catch some things and to get individuals out of jail that should not have been in there. We did that for district court. On December the 16th, we'll be having another what we call jail court. And that is going to focus on individuals also in jail. So the court is trying to do all it can do to get these individuals out of that jail. However, we still must have room to house those that belong there. All right.
Yep.
Commissioner,
Yes, sir.
as I know that money is a concern for me, being out of state. Have we support ways, because everybody talk about, well, they got us jail in Northampton County's paid for, are we actually working with our legislature, representatives to see if there's some funding we can make it able to get from partners?
Yes, sir, Commissioner Silver. We have already, Ms. Denton and I have had conversations with, we have had conversations with our local officials, Representative Ray as well as Representative Pierce. And we've even talked with some, U.S. Congressional and USDA. We're looking at sources like that. And, if we have to do a tax increase, which really don't want to do that. Personally, I don't. And, we just have to try to minimize that increase if it's one. But because we are exploring all those resources to try to avoid that at all costs. And, but yeah, we just got to work at it harder. And it behooves each one of us sitting on this board that we have to also work with our local legislators as well as our U.S. legislators in trying to get that done because, they can help with that process. And of course, USDA, which is Reginald Spate, he's aware of what's going on here in Halifax as it relates to the jail. But, anyway, I know we kind of, and that's a good question. I'm right there with you, Commissioner Silver, with the cost of it. But, I know we kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit, and even when I brought it up about the pricing and all. But still, those are the conversations that we've got to have, hard conversation, and we got to be proactive thinking. Even when they come back with whatever recommendation, we still have to be forward thinking by our county as to how our new jail will look, capacity. Do we want to do beyond bring in other inmates from other places and use it as, I guess, economic development and make some money off of it. Just like other counties are making money off us now. I mean, we just need to think about those things. I'm not saying do that, but we just need to look at the whole picture. And so anyway, but good discussion. Anything else, Commissioners?
That's one thing. I would like for there to be a monthly report presented to us when we come to the meeting. It don't have to be, anything in detail, but I think this is an issue that we must stay on it at every meeting so that we don't get to a point where 6 months come down the road and we got to make a decision. Then we got to try to remember what we said 6 months ago.
Right.
But if we stay on, just keep it on task, I think that's what I would like to see.
I would agree, Mr. Will, on that.
Okay.
Madam County Manager, can we make that happen?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes,
all right,
sir.
very good. Look like, Mr. Abbott, you're going to have a little bit more on your plate now. Okay, all right, very good suggestion. All right, anything else? If not, we're going to move. We got to comply with his request. What is your pleasure in regards to Mr. Everett's request?
Move that we authorize them to negotiate a contract with Mosley Architects for architecture engineering services for the design and construction of the new detention center.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Webb. Is there a second?
I'll second. I'll second that motion.
Okay. The vice chair has yielded to the new person. And Commissioner Silver seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, Mr. Everett. You understand still why we had all this discussion, because, this is something massive and huge, and we just got to do what's best for our citizens. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, everybody okay? I'll tell you what, let's do this, y'all. Now, y'all listen to me real good.
Because you have 50 minutes.
We got 50 minutes. Well, we got less than that. We got actually about 45, because
45 minutes.
we want to finish about 10 to 12, so we can be at Halifax County Schools. It's about 10 or 11 on that, 11 on that clock. Let's be back at 11:15.
Okay.
You might be able to make it.
Be at ease.
Huh?
I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna feel it in a minute, but I'm just gonna have to. Yeah. Me too.
Great job. Now you can do it every month. That's where I go. It's all good. It's all good. I have
Thank you.